Hi, intrepid viewers, Dr. Lena. Welcome also to any trendsetters who have found this channel. Now, if you're wondering about the beret, two reasons. One, it's still winter in Australia. I'll just point that out to the Northern Hemisphere. People forget. And the other reason is my hairdryer just died, which is probably not surprising. I probably bought it in 1983 or something. So if I'm looking a bit bedraggled, that's what that's about. So we're going to have a look. What's been happening? What's about to happen? Hasn't been the best week in the world for the Yeti, you have to say. Oh my God. You can feel his sort of agitation and desperation. And I think it was Mary Trump. Forgive me, Mary, if it's wrong, but I'm fairly sure she's had an analysis to the extent that all these years, he probably hasn't worried that much because you actually have to engage your brain and think about things in order to worry about them. He has always just pointed fingers at everyone else. This went wrong because of you and you and you, and because I'm hard done by. He's never had to reflect for a nanosecond, and that shows. But he's looking really sulkier than usual, not a happy camper. So we're going to have a look at all sorts of things. In the good news column, Clarence Thomas has been brought into the DOJ. Please explain. Let's hope that goes somewhere. But in the meantime, Elon Musk, who can't make up his mind which side he's on, he's met Trump, which means he doesn't like Trump, right? That's a given. But for whatever reason, how to poison his 10 children against him by being a narrow-minded fascist or whatever his bizarre motivation is, he's decided to put a PAC together to support the Yeti. Now, that PAC, called America PAC, like home of originality, spare me, is under criminal investigation for voter data collection practices. In other words, they've been, dare I say, thieving data or acquiring it not quite above board. So I want to have a look at the America PAC, Elon Musk. Yeah, Elon Musk and the PAC. Okay, let's have a look here. Oh, fancy that. Okay, here's Elon. Now, I don't know if this means he's secretly into bondage and discipline or something. I have no idea. Entertainment purposes only. But any discipline mistress will tell you it's the high CEO types, it's the head of police forces, it's always hugely powerful men who are their bread and butter. Okay, but this is how Elon's feeling. He's got the castle, but he's outside the castle, bound up. And the Eight of Swords is about being stuck in a critical situation of your own making. And there is a way out of this, but I'm not going to tell Elon. I don't care. I'm not called the Queen of Snark for nothing, right? So I'm just going to leave him there because he has created this situation. Why? By waving his big stick around, Elon. Look at this. This is my Fred Flintstone card for those of you who are old enough to remember the Flintstones. My way or the highway. And this is how he treats everybody, you know? Now, this PAC is represented here, I think, with this Knight of Wands galloping off to try and put this spectacularly ill-equipped man in charge of the free world. That was his mission with this PAC. However, The problems that have arisen are going to multiply. The Empress multiplies things. His problems personally, in business terms, in every way, are starting to multiply. Oh dear, poor Elon. Well, never mind. Moving on. So the GOP currently does not have the usual huge treasure chest it gets from the NRC. So why? Because they are being investigated, thanks to Wayne St. Pierre or whatever his name is, who apparently, allegedly, ran off with the money. We have the wall, where Steve Bannon, I don't even have to say allegedly, was convicted of running off with the money. He's currently in jail for his other bad and criminal behaviour, refusing to turn up and submit documents. And the second his little greasy toenails emerge from that prison, he's been charged again somehow with what happened to the money. We build the wall. So we're starting to finally, after all these years, see some comeuppance for these people, right? Oh. So while we're looking at that, I just want to comment briefly on the Supreme, or I've now taken to calling it the obscene court, gave that very dodgy, out of step, quasi definition without a definition of immunity. So it's the worst of the worst. If they actually said something concrete, you can work within that and try and work around it or through it or over it. No. So they've thrown the responsibility for choosing what is a presidential act, what isn't, what's covered by immunity, what isn't, back to the individual judges in order to slow down court cases, which they know will come back to them, in which case they'll say, oh, we didn't know. Didn't we tell you that the first time? I'm sorry, this is not a functional legal body. And so it's just not. It's deep Banana Republic stuff. And let's hope after the blue wave, something serious is done about it. And not just term times, not just an ethics committee, a proper clean out. Anyway, I digress. I'm sure you're familiar with my digressions. Where was I going? What's my question? Yeah, there's no administrative test, I gather from watching Midas Touch and stuff, that can be applied. So this is impacting Jack Smith's case. He's asked for a 3-week extension, which is the last thing America needed. But we have to trust he's got his reasons, and I'm sure that's to get his ducks in a row. So the question is, will Jack Smith be successful when he picks up this case again or not? He's got the whole of the Heritage Foundation and all those hideous people who want a theocratic state. But let's have a look. So this 3-week delay for Jack Smith, will it work on the other side of this? What's happening with that case? Oh, I had that lengthy rave, then shuffling, and here it comes. But let's see who it's talking about. Is it him or Aileen Cannon? Okay. Oh, the trumpet. All these conditions. Oh, God. I'm not seeing justice cards. Doesn't make me happy. Okay, what we have got, I think this is Aileen Cannon. I don't think that's just wishful thinking. She's doing the bidding of Trump, the minor. This is becoming a burden to her as well as him. So look at these. They're very similar cards. the 3 and 4 of Pentacles. This is about, I think, both Aileen Cannon and Jack Smith in their separate camps going, I don't want to divulge too much. What can I do? What can I trade off? What can I afford to lose? She's probably thinking, if I back off a few of the more profoundly stupid things I've done, maybe I can save my career. He's thinking, I'll rule out some of these charges because I don't want it to be contested. We'll roll with these charges. They're both, interesting that it turned out being a joint reading, essentially. They're both having to decide these huge things. And then Kelsey Surprise, the devil. So I think in her case, Aileen Cannon's chained to whatever nefarious deal she did to get the job in the first place. And Jack Smith is chained to this monolith until the DOJ starts to support this man as a senior special counsel. He's stuck. So, blessings that something's got to give in legal terms. You know, this is now patently ridiculous. We're going into another election and the first one's not sorted out. I mean, 1,400 people have been convicted over the January 6th stuff. Many of them have gone to jail, but as is often said, they got the boots and not the suits, which takes us to Mark Meadows. He's the linchpin for so much of the stuff going forward. Now, I want to have a look because Jenna Ellis, who was his admin assistant or whatever you call them, and she's now, well, she's got no choice if, as a young person, if she wants to have any sort of professional life, and she's going to spew her guts on, yes, Australians, we speak beautifully, don't we? She's going to spill her guts. Yeah. So let's have a look at Mark Meadows and who is he going to give up? Mark Meadows. And then we have to look at the GOP. Are they actually going to sling the Yeti? But first, here we go. Oh my God. Okay, so what's happening for Mark Meadows? Oh, pet. Oh, bless his heart. Okay. Well, as we've seen, many of the people who take themselves out of the real world and ally themselves with this misbegotten, fraudulent creature, they've watched other people's lives be ruined, but thought, not me. Smart. But you weren't because you said yes to the job. And now, how are you feeling, Mark? Not fabulous. Not fabulous. I don't think his family is impressed either because they're in a living suspended hell. When you've got someone in the family who's going through years and years of court cases, I don't care what social class you are or anything else, it is massively stressful. He decided to play with the big boys. He thought he could be as ruthless as they are in this Five of Swords. But he got done. He got done. I think he'll be one of those walking away. This is the Queen of Swords. This case is being activated. This is an active card. Here's a gift being proffered. That would be a deal, Mark, if it isn't too late. Stop trying to be a hero in your own lunchtime, snap out of it and tell the truth. On behalf of the American people, the star, inspiration and hope. I don't think he's there yet. Can you believe it? I don't think he's there yet. But I think that's the way he's going to go. I don't think he's going to do, you know, jail time for the Bino, billionaire in name only. I really don't think so. So let's hope he snaps out of the coma. Now, with those nasty shock jocks and people leaving the Yeti, some people have still said, oh, people might vote for RFK Jr. I'd virtually forgotten he was still in the race. Hopefully he'll fall over before the end because it's really just an unnecessary roadblock. However, you'd have to think at this point, it would only be a few desperate Republicans who couldn't bring themselves to vote blue go for RFK. Sure. The point is how exciting all these different groups for Harris and Walz that are coming forward, white dudes for Harris, but Republicans, Arizona Republicans for Harris. And I heard another great one last night. Didn't write it down, therefore it's gone. But I think people are having fun creating these little mini groups for Harris because she has all the energy. So they know this, GOP. So there's even whispers. Would they dump the Yeti? Could the ultimate happen? Could the ultimate happen? Could the GOP actually kick him to the curb? I know it's complicated legally and everything else. And then they'd only be left with the truly hideous JD Vance. But could it happen? Let's have a look. Hmm. Oh, my word. Well, look, they're looking at it, at least some of them in the upper echelons, those who used to be Republicans and then decided to become acrobats in the Trump circus. Look at this. Goodness me. Okay. So behind the scenes, this is doing deals and compromises. They think that each generation of aides thinks they can tame the beast. None of them can because he's untamable. He never mentions the party, doesn't think about the party, couldn't give a flying toss about the party. It's all about him. And it's starting to dawn on them. They're putting the word out, the ships. Has anyone got an idea how we can get out of this? Because they are looking at best at 8 years in the wilderness and possibly an entire generation. They're trying to keep a lid on their emotions here with this Queen of Cups. But that's not easy because every time they look at their phones, there's another legal case involving the Yeti or a top Republican. This is a nightmare. We need more money. We've run out of money. This is the mercenary. So you know what it's like in ordinary life as well as this high stuff. When you've got no money, it's really hard to find money. When you've got money, money tends to flow more and stuff, and they're stuck. They're stuck around the money issue. He's not bringing them money and he's not bringing them votes. And he has no momentum. He's not moving, except perhaps to go backwards. They're actually beside themselves. Oh my God, I've got to do a top-up read. I'll use the circus cards. I knew I bought them out for a reason. This is the GOP. So they're thinking about it, but in real life, that can't be easy. And when you've got a dud VP, if Vance had worked, I think it's more likely they would be working harder at this. And just remember, I'll remind you now for the record, I've always said I see Trump going down in a public way, literally helped off the stage scenario and an involuntary psych evaluation and everything that follows that. I think it'll be public. It'll be public in the sense whatever happens, even if it's behind closed doors, we will hear. But okay. So let's see, as a follow-up to that question, GOP and Trump, what's the relationship between Trump and the party right now? Oh, can you imagine? Sorry, I digress. He starts to behave really weirdly and they rush off and they do brain scans. Now, they would have, after the shooting, I presume, um, he would have had brain scans. Can you imagine being the technical officer in charge of brain scans, looking inside that head? It would be jello. Be jello. They'd be calling over their colleagues saying, I've just done a scan of the ex-president and the machine's going weird. I mean, can't you imagine? Be absolute jello. Anyway, the relationship right now with the circus cars, because that's what it is. Let's go. Oh, look, come and have a look at these. I don't know if the Yeti eats when he's unhappy. I suspect there might be a bit of emotional eating going on here. I'll just leave that visual with you. When he leaves Mar-a-Lago or whenever he is, he dresses himself up as the emperor. Right? This is the empress. What are the chances, 78 cards, of having the empress and the emperor together? So this is him when the cameras aren't rolling. This is him when he goes to the ever-diminishing rallies with the whip, trying to whip up the enthusiasm again. I'm here, flood me with limelight and acclaim. It's literally him. I'm going to use these cards more. Look at this. The Knight of Wands. This, I think this is the poor, unfortunate people who are trying to make a campaign out of this. It's like these are the people behind the scenes doing the hard graft, doing the hard work. They're actually putting up the tent. These are the people he's ridiculing and dismissing because when he forgets what to say, he blames the teleprompter. When there aren't enough people in the stadium, he blames local officials for not letting in the 25,000 and all that stuff. These are the people who have to put up with it and do the hard work. What's the relationship like between Trump and the GOP at the moment? Words are not necessary. Oh my God. And this tower, unlike the other decks where the tower tends to be a medieval tower and all of that, this is more, this could be at a Trump rally or something. It has that vibe of fireworks and mayhem. Oh, oh, wow. Well, my darlings, I'll leave you with that thrilling thought. They'd dump him if they could. Okay. And they might have to find an alternative. Oh my God. All right. Rise above the fray, big breaths, look after yourself, and do something nice for someone else. Just do it. Or if you're one of those people who's always looking after everyone else and their garden and their cat and thing, you need to take time out for yourself. But if you've been sort of, get out and do something kind.